Free beer and hot wings in the morning. Grand Rapids rocks all day. 97.9 GRD rocks.
97.9 GRD rocks. Increasingly cloudy, breezy afternoon showers. Thunderstorms, yeah, maybe. 71 the high. It's about 60 now. Joe will be out at Cannonsburg for the GRD Zombie Hunt Saturday night, 7 until 9. This seems like an awesome event. We've got a pair of tickets for you right now. Caller 5 at 770-WGRD or 1-800-947-3979. Caller 5. You'll be able to shoot zombies emerging from the woods at Cannonsburg from your turret-mounted paintball gun on the back of a wagon.
Yeah, and even
That's
it
awesome.
looks beautiful, but even if it's like the wagon is covered and they take you out, these juggalos jump out from the woods.
I don't think they're juggalos.
Oh, no, I meant the people who work as the zombies.
They're
Right.
juggalos.
Right. Well, yeah, we talked about that yesterday. You give them a 2-liter of moon mist, and they let you shoot them in the face.
Yeah. Did you see that op-ed piece from
Shaggy J or
from
someone?
Shaggy J?
Yeah.
I thought it was fairly well written.
Well, I thought, yeah, it was well written. I still think it is.
And I think he's right that it is weird that as much as it's fun to make fun of juggalos, it's pretty weird that they are labeled a borderline hate group as a whole.
Well, like
that
a
if somebody's
terrorist group
because
or
he pointed
something.
out in that there have been documented cases of somebody wearing an ICP shirt and they get stopped and added to like the gang watch list, even though they have no background or anything else. That is silly. Now, maybe some
silly.
people who like it might draw a certain aspect of people.
Well, yeah, but so do other things.
Right.
I mean, this is the same thing as people who liked heavy metal in the 80s being
We're all
labeled as
Satanists.
Satanists. Yeah.
Some of them may have been.
Yeah, but I mean, it's so stupid. And it'll be the same thing with this. Like, I think if you look back or if you're reading books about that time period and they go, well, here's the thing. It was all over the news. But if you look at any the numbers, people weren't killing babies in the name of heavy metal. There were probably a few actual incidents where something weird went down, and then the media and Tipper Gore went crazy over it. And that's how it
a
happens.
good way to get in front of the camera.
Well, it's things get blown out of proportion. I mean, it's just like people blowing just the scary clown thing out of proportion in the first place. Because bad things have happened at ICP shows, but they probably happened at other shows too that you just don't. It doesn't become
all sorts
It
of
doesn't
shows.
become mainstream.
Yeah.
There have been bad things. There have been people raped, and there is drug use at some of them. But
it's like motorcycle clubs.
When you
some
have
of them
giant
actually
gatherings of people, I mean, it's not impossible that a rape accusation or an actual rape happened at Burning Man. Certainly, there was drug use at Burning Man.
Well,
but
Woodstock
because they're not,
99.
because it's not, it's because it's a ton of different types of weirdos.
Yeah.
And rich people and poor people, as opposed to just a bunch of people with clown paint on their face, which people obviously find scary, given today's news cycle.
It's
That's
just fun.
why.
It's fun to make fun of them, but in reality, you can't label them all as a terrorist group.
No.
You can't pull them over for dressing like idiots.
Right.
And wearing pants that are way too big and way too short with straps that are unnecessary.
Yeah, I mean,
And
they're a
wallet
crime against
chains.
humanity, but not a real crime.
I think it's okay to scold those people.
Yeah,
but that's about
definitely.
as much as you can do.
Yeah, a tongue lashing. And that's,
and shoot them with paintballs at Cannonsburg.
If they volunteer.
to bring it back around.
As long
If
as as long as you've handsomely paid them in moon mist.
Yeah, or if you are one, you are welcome to turn it on yourself.
Joe, in addition to being at Cannonsburg Saturday for that event,
Yes, sir.
where else are you going to be next week? Tell me now.
I'm actually not there next week. It's in 2 weeks.
Sounded like you said next week earlier.
Yeah, but then I looked at my calendar.
Gotcha. Okay, give me a 2-week
There's
plan.
a lot of dates in the month and a lot of little dots on this thing. 2 weeks, I'll be at Atwater Brewing Company. And I only thought, I should mention I'm there, even though it's a little bit early, only to say that I drove by there last night, and it looks amazing.
Where's it at?
It does. It's right in the new row,
Yeah, the row house,
the row building.
across from the Michigan State.
Where they
Monroe and Michigan.
The one that was
Got
empty
it.
for 30 years. Yeah,
Yes.
that they just redid.
Oh, wow.
It's right in the ground floor of that.
Wow. I don't drive by that building very often. The
Yeah.
last time I did, it was still filled with ghosts.
It is.
No, they've made a ton of progress. There's still ghosts. I mean, tons of them.
Well, there always will be the ghosts.
Yeah, obviously. But
Those in purgatory.
they've made the facade is really coming together now, and it looks pretty cool.
It
so.
does.
Wow.
A lot of people outside. Last night was a great night for people to be out there. I think it was a soft open, so I don't think people are. It opens Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of people there.
The last few mornings when I've come into work, since it's dark, the lights have been on inside there, so I can look basically into there before I make a left onto Monroe.
Yeah.
And you go, well, that looks pretty cool in there.
I think
It's the reason why this is the best town in Michigan to live.
Oh, my God.
By a long shot.
Oh, that's true.
Just the breweries and quality bar food that we've got in this town is ridiculous.
Yeah. So M Live dropped this morning. This appears to be some pretty strong reporting. I like this because, it's kind of
it's
away
real
from
news.
how things have gone. And I don't mean this as a critique on them, but in general, the news does not hold people accountable. Now, what's going to happen out of this? I don't know. Probably nothing. But we're going to read a lot of it to you, if you don't mind. Again, this is in M Live, if you want to see the whole thing. The headline, secretive funds allow Michigan lawmakers to accept corporate cash.
Yeah.
Is that how it should be?
All right, that does not surprise me in any way.
No one thinks that's okay. That should not be okay.
Just lawmakers.
Because you could say, well, they're not buying their vote, they're just donating. That's buying their vote.
Yeah.
It is.
And that's the way it exists on all levels.
The whole system is buying
Well, it's
the
buying
vote.
influence,
it's buying it. That's what super PACs and lobby groups and everybody else does.
Yeah.
Because that guy is now beholden to whoever it is that, they don't go, oh, thanks for all of this cash.
Right.
It gives me a career, but I'm going to turn my back on you.
My conscience says that what you're doing is wrong.
Right.
Or it's not the best for my people that I represent.
That's
All right, so
ever
here's
happened,
what
I'd
it
be
says.
shocked.
Exactly 100 days after the state Senate signed off on millions of dollars in tax breaks for data centers, the company seeking the change gave $10,000 to an account that helps pay Senate Majority Leader Arlen Meekoff's expenses. It is illegal for a corporation to give directly to a candidate's campaign account in Michigan. But the $10,000 contribution from Switch, by the way, I'm delighted that this passed because I want that company to come here and fill up the pyramid and bring all the jobs and the economy and the money and everything else. I'm perfectly fine with the tax breaks.
Yes.
You just don't need to grease the hands along the way. The Nevada-based company planning to open a data center in West Michigan. Now, this is written for the state, by the way, so that's why they break it down like that. Falls into a difficult-to-trace and rarely discussed form of legal fundraising where many donations don't have to be disclosed. A joint investigation by MLive and the Michigan Campaign Finance Network, MCFN, found at least 50 of Michigan's 144 House and Senate members, about 1 in 3, are connected or have been connected to a nonprofit or administrative account. From 2013 to 2015, $12.8 million flowed to more than 100 accounts connected to political parties, elected office holders, and their consultants in Michigan. What it brings is Michigan legislators potentially can be bought and sold.
Of course.
Said the head of the Michigan Coalition for Open Government. Finding who runs these lawmaker-connected organizations, who gives to them, and what the donations are used for can be extremely difficult. MLive and MCFN examined hundreds of public filings with the IRS and self-disclosures on political giving made available by companies, as well as contacted fund administrators to determine their connections to state lawmakers. Of course, it's buried in a sea of red tape, which is exactly what you should do, I guess.
Well, and when it comes to that, I don't think you're not going to find all of the cash because when they go with super PAC, maybe not necessarily super PACs, but things of that nature, a lot of them don't have to say this is what this money was used for.
Right, absolutely. The money from Switch went to the Meekoff administrative account known as a 527, which covers office-related expenses such as travel or conference fees.
Oh, travel, conference fees, paintings for the walls, a nice chair,
right?
Whatever he wants that he can just say is an office fee.
And if you have that extra money, that's money of your own. You don't have to spend. Whatever. It all comes back. He declined to comment for this. Arlen Meekoff did. Switch released a statement saying, "We proudly and enthusiastically support Republican and Democratic elected leaders who support our efforts to bring the significant investment, jobs, and technology benefits to our world-class data center ecosystems to their states." Well, yeah. What are you supposed to say?
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. I'm glad you're coming. The Meekoff administration account raised more than $25,000, a threshold that requires these types of accounts to report donors and expenditures to the IRS. But many lawmakers who benefit from smaller accounts or nonprofits do not have to disclose.
Oh, see, there we go.
These types of accounts have been available for use for decades, but prior to the 90s, elected officials were able to use office holder expense accounts and could take in corporate money. The accounts paid for items varying from office remodels to football tickets. Dan Gustafson, a former Republican lawmaker who fought to eliminate the accounts, said they were eliminated because of a growing sense the accounts were getting out of control. His bill to eliminate them in 1994 was signed in 1994, and he said a few years later, nonprofits started cropping up to accept the corporate cash.
That's what it is.
So they stomped them out, and they grew back in another form.
Yeah.
This is on a more local level. The accusations that have been levied against the Clinton Foundation,
Right.
Which except
at least
we can't accept that. We can't obviously accept that money. So all these giant corporations were donating to that. And the theory is that it's just a money laundering scheme in order for them, and then they pay big money to all the people,
At least that actually is a real charity. It has a pretty strong rating on the CharityWatch.com.
Sure,
but it's still doing the same
and some
thing.
of these probably may too, but they're a smaller scale.
Yeah.
They're not so they they wouldn't have the money to go or it wouldn't make headlines like Rick Snyder's Nerd Foundation or whatever donates $18 million because they wouldn't have that in there.
That's the next one they mentioned. The accounts are similar to Snyder's so-called Nerd Fund, which made headlines in 2013 for using anonymous donations to pay one of his top advisors. The funds are either nonprofits, typically 501c4.
Oh, his Nerd Fund paid for an advisor. I'm sure that advisor could really use that Nerd Fund money. That's what funds are for.
Sure.
Right.
Elected state officials traditionally raise money for their campaigns through candidate committees and through optional political action committees known as PACs. The Michigan Secretary of State tracks both of these forms of fundraising and requires disclosure of both donations and spending. In Michigan, like the federal level, corporations cannot give directly to either of these types of accounts. But nonprofits and 527 administrative accounts are a different story. Nonprofits, which can be used for such things as charitable giving and community events, don't have to disclose donors to the IRS, and they have to file a form with the broad details about their spending only if they raise more than $50,000 a year, according to information on the IRS website. So if they make $49,950, spend it however you want.
Yeah.
Nobody's watching.
See, that's the problem, is that I don't care who donates to what. If it's a group like this that's associated in any way with a political figure, all those should have to be revealed. You should have to reveal the donors.
Though I don't think corporations should be able to donate in general, in any way.
Well, I don't either, but I don't know how you would stop it. But at least they should. They should have to be. Every one of them should have to be, revealed.
Yeah,
because they do a lot of the smaller donations, and so it's harder to track that if you don't have to. And frankly, I wouldn't even care if everyday Joe Schmo citizen somehow it was released. Because most people, it's not like everybody's going to go, sir, did so and so donate this or did they donate that? Whatever. I don't. But it's these corporations where they donate $8,000 here and $8,000 there, and
they're paying both sides
there, and they're paying both sides. This list includes both Republicans and Democrats.
Of course it does. Of course,
they're the same thing. It's no surprise, and everybody who has a common sense brain knows that it's two sides of the same coin.
Right.
Yeah. Here's the thing:
they distract us with talk of abortion or unions or whatever else it is,
but
they
never have any intention on changing.
And that's the thing is. That may never change. It will always be this way. But if you could look at a guy, and this is so many people have used this joke, like if they would have to lawmakers have to wear their sponsors like NASCAR drivers.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's a stupid thing and it won't happen and this will never stop. But if you knew who was donating to them and you knew that they were basically not working for the people anymore, but working for whatever corporations give them the most amount of money, well, then maybe that's a bigger reason to get out and vote for someone else.
Yes,
anyone else.
You could see that they took a $10,000 payday from whoever.
It might motivate
for example,
people.
In 2015, tobacco giant Reynolds American disclosed that it gave $2,500 to the Mid-Michigan Future Fund, a nonprofit tied to Rick Jones of Grand Ledge. Reynolds American also gave $10,000 to the Great Lakes Administrative Account, a 527 connected to then Senate Majority Leader Randy Richardville of Monroe. Each lawmaker pushed a pro-tobacco industry bill on e-cigarettes in 2014.
Yeah.
Reynolds American voluntarily discloses its donations on its website, which no one looks at, of course.
No.
Jones and Richardville say the donations were unrelated to the legislation. They are never connected. I know people would be skeptical of that. However, the people that were in charge of raising funds were not in charge of legislation. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm sure you don't know each other.
Yeah.
Are they randomly assigned?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Those two things are
crap.
separate. Jones, who said he had always been a longtime supporter of e-cigarettes, said while the Mid-Michigan Future Fund is connected to him, he can give suggestions on spending. An independent board chooses how to spend donations.
Oh, I wonder how they're spending donations. I wonder how something as vague sounding as the Future Fund
Right?
spends. That's like George Costanza's Humanity Now or whatever
Right.
he
Serenity
made
Now?
up. No, whatever chair. Whatever.
Oh, yeah.
The Human Fund.
The Human
Yes.
Fund, yeah.
It is. It is virtually that. The Future Fund. The
Yeah.
Human Fund.
Well, there's a lot more meat to this. if
It's
you
a
wanna read
it's
it.
a
Boy, is that
long
great.
It's a long article.
Well done. I mean, it's worth it. It's not
Yeah.
Thank you,
Who wrote-
MLive,
who
for
wrote
putting that together.
Emily Lawler and Craig Mauger.
Well done, because
Or Mauger.
I looked at all the news sites and there is nothing about that. But there is at MLive.
No, that's what you used to expect
that's real
when there
news.
was actually a newspaper
Yeah.
Yeah.
back in the old days.
Yeah, when that was the job
Yeah.
of the independent press to hold the feet to the fire.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't happen anymore.
No.
At all levels.
It was a news story when CNN fired all of their newsmen.
All of We're just
Yeah.
going to keep the
They're
people who
journalists.
make up opinions and yell.
Yeah, we want the best looking yellers.
Can you come up with
what we want.
32 things that remind you of growing up in the suburbs in the 90s? We want you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Bastards.
By the way, I couldn't do it. It's not. I don't have that skill set.
Well, no, I'm not a journalist,
I wish I did.
but I know it. I can read it.
No. You have to have a thirst for the truth.
Well, especially now. You get paid nothing.
Yeah, culturally, we've said goodbye to facts.
Yeah, we don't need them. We want more red sweaters.
We do. Actually, I do. Better than what we're getting.
Yeah.
Days of the New. Touch, peel, stand. 97.9 GRD Rocks.